Welcome back to another episode of SMS Games Talk, and this is WWE 2K24 review. I did do a previous video, but I think I can say it a lot more better. It's a solid game. Honestly, 2K24 is a pretty solid game without having the same features as 2K25. You know, I've played it religiously every single day, right? Almost, practically, for a full year since release. So, yeah, I love 2K24, honestly, I do. I love everything that it's got in it, all the features that were added, you know, being able to yeet weapons and being able to, just the little quality of life things that they did to the game. The game modes, nobody gives a shit about my faction. I haven't played that. So the game modes that I haven't played, just to clarify, is My Rise. I tried to get into it in 2K23. It's just not really my thing, really. I'm a universe mode guy, so I just go in and I just completely overhaul and create my own universe, own shows, everything. I do follow what's closely to real life rivalries, but I change it up and do my own thing with it. So I don't use any superstars that are deceased or anything like Bray Wyatt or anything like that. I use current day superstars and put them in my own rivalries and storylines in my head. And universe mode is great for that. So that's why I greatly just focus on universe mode. I don't do my Rise, I don't do my faction, I don't do my GM. The first thing that I do in the game always is go into custom arena and see what they've changed with that, because I'm two very big things of the game. I'm a very big custom arena guy and I'm a very big universe mode guy, right? So they're the two main things that I do. But I always play 2K Showcase. While I'm putting all my creations in, which they seriously need to do a custom import button from the previous game, where if you just want to import all your creations from the previous game over to the new, they really do need that. That's very long overdue. Every year, it is essentially just an updated version of the previous year's game with, updated graphics, lighting, entrances, all that stuff, right? So they really need a custom import button. It's really tedious. It's really annoying if you've got over 20 or 30 created superstars and different arenas that you've done and how you have universe mode set up. If you're able to just import all that into the newest version iteration of the game every year, even if it took 2 hours or all night, you just leave your game sitting there, and then when you wake up in the morning, it's done, right? I would be okay with that, because it would mean that I wouldn't have to go in and do all my creations over and over and over again every year. It's very tedious, it's very annoying. Nonetheless, while I'm practically doing all the creations again in the new game, I do hit up 2K Showcase. Yes, I hated the slingshot tech. I did not, at first it was all right, but then I like everyone else, I got very annoyed with it. I'm like, I want to actually see these play out in cutscenes, because we've already seen all this stuff. But you've got, Netflix now to watch all that on. So it was just very, if you wanted to go back and watch it, you could. You didn't need to actually, have something that could have been a cutscene, in the game with the actual in-game superstars and models, slingshot backwards and forwards. And also, it was annoying not having any commentary, not having any entrances, not having, having that practically that no copyright music play in the background in the middle of the match, and then have a whole bunch of checklist stuff to do. Nonetheless, I still thoroughly enjoyed 2K Showcase. I don't know whether this happened for anybody else, but it happened for me. When I was playing the 40 Years of WrestleMania Showcase of the Immortals, whatever they want to call it, in 2K24, I already unlocked everything. So all I needed to do, I didn't even need to... I got midway through the Showcase of the Immortals, and I realized I didn't need to do any of this check box bullshit. I didn't need to do any of the objectives. All I needed to do was just go in and win the match, and then it unlocked everything. I don't know whether 2K25 is going to be the same deal. I hope that it is. When you've got the Bloodline Edition, you've already got everything, so you just need to literally go in there and just win the match. You don't even need to, and that's the problem with 2K Showcase, is I think that they should realistically only have 3 objectives per match, right? And I know the whole thing is to go through and play out how it happened in real life, but they should only have, they can still do that with only 3 very easy, very simple objectives, so you can play the match your way, do the match your way, and also follow the objectives. It's very annoying having 6 or 7 or 10 different objectives, like all these different objectives in the match. It's very annoying. If they just did each match with just 3 objectives each, you can play out the match however you want. But that's what I liked. That's the thing that the Showcase of the Immortals did. I don't know whether this happened in all the other years, but when you got like the Kickstarter or the Season Pass or whatever you want to call it, where you can just go into the game and unlock everything. So I did enjoy 2K Showcase, despite no copyright music, no commentary, and so the music playing during the match, no commentary, and also the slingshot tech. I still having Corey Graves, talk you through all the big moments of all the different WrestleManias and stuff. And even having like different tiny little interviews between like Stone Cold and Kevin Owens, and even, talking to Cody Rhodes, having Seth friggin' Rollins in there as well. Him wearing those big ass goofy glasses in the middle of the sort of interview that they were conducting for the Showcase of the Immortals. I still very much enjoyed it. When it comes to like different match types and stuff, casket match, ambulance match, gauntlet, special guest referee. I knew that special guest referee fell flat. Like it was very, like I love doing special guest referee matches and stuff, and I also love how they incorporated it, being able to have essentially free mode where you can just run amok as much as you want as a special guest referee, and you can do what you want. And then you've also got like the restricted mode where it's like if you're running amok too much, then you get replaced. Like I like how they incorporated both of them in there, and also like giving little prompts and like the warnings and stuff if somebody removes a turnbuckle pad, or if something happens by DQ, if there's a weapon in the ring, you got to remove, like different little things like that. I love that, I really do. And being able to yeet or chuck, I should say, weapons and stuff, I love that too. And all the different weapons that we got in the DLCs as well. So being able to have, the door, the light tube, the football, the apple, the microphone, all of that. Being able to have different weapons added with different patch updates, and also, DLCs as well. Every DLC was good except for the Pat McAfee show pack. Obviously, everyone saying that was the worst pack. I'm happy we got Pat McAfee. We just didn't need all these mates that nobody knew or gave a shit about, right? But then, essentially, out of nowhere, they gave us the, the Becoming Immortal Fiend, and that sort of like in the updated Uncle Howdy as well. So if that was like an apology, without actually being an apology for the Pat McAfee show pack, then I accept their apology, because that came out of nowhere, and I'm surprised that was it. Was it? Yeah, well, I think it was like $12 or something like that. I was going to say no additional charge, but no, I think it was like $12 or $14 or whatever. No big deal. It was definitely worth buying that though. I didn't care it was an extra. I didn't care it was an extra $12 or $14. Really didn't give a shit. I enjoyed all the DLC packs. There was some superstars, that I enjoyed, but I didn't really play, like the Sandman and stuff. It's still awesome, but I'm more of the current day superstars, like CM Punk. Having the Dudley Boys in there was really cool as well. And, adding in Nia Jax, and I think they even added in Lyra Valkyria as well. That's the type of stuff I love in DLC packs. And I reckon with 2K24, apart from the Pat McAfee show pack, they hit practically every DLC on the head. And every time you got a DLC, especially seeing like CM Punk's entrance and seeing his model finally be put into the game, the Becoming Immortal Fiend, and giving him a slightly different entrance with the new, like with that updated Fiend head lantern. That was awesome, being able to have Bo Dallas's model in there under the Uncle Howdy mask, and then having What's the Status be able to edit that, you know, where you can actually have the Bo Dallas normal model and then the updated Uncle Howdy. That was cool. I actually appreciated that, you know. And things like with the ambulance match and the casket match, yes, them being two in the same with just the button mashing thing and being able to put them into the same thing. But I like, though, one thing that I did notice is with the ambulance match and even the casket match, both matches, they have this drag out feature, right? So if you ever wanted to make, like, for example, an ambulance match, a quick squash match, like, every time you put your opponent into the ambulance, it's not like just one and done. You got to actually beat the crap out of your opponent, and you got to go at it a fair few times. Like, that match will drag out. That can, like, if you allow it, that can be like a full-on 20-30 minute long match, which is, it's really good that they did that, because it's not like, oh, you're just having a one-on-one singles match or just any other match. It's just something that you've actually got to beat your opponent down properly to be able to close both doors, or to put them into the casket and close the lid. So I love that drag out feature of those matches too, you know. And also, like, the announce table being updated, where you can actually jump on it and walk around on it and, you know, do diving moves off it. And then you can just do normal moves on the announce table where it doesn't break. And then if you hit a big finisher, then it does. That I did love as well. Little quality to life, things like that. Because that's what happens in real life. Before they updated the announce table to what it is now, there was not always did the announce table break, right? And I like how they incorporated that into 2K24. It's like, you choose whether you want to hit a big finishing move to break the table, or you can just hit just a normal move and it doesn't break. That was really cool. And doing diving moves off the announce table, just updating the announce table to be able to, you know, do different things and stuff, right? I love all that. Quality to life things. The blood even being updated. It's not perfect. Still great. And I like how, like with women's superstars, you know, you see their makeup over time. The longer that the match drags out, you see like their lipstick start to fade, or if they've got like eyeliner makeup. Same thing as face paint. You know, if you really drag out a match, then the face paint will substantially start to come off a lot. And even with blood, you know, if you put them in the tree of woe, so put them in the corner, and you put them upside down, and they're bleeding, the blood will actually drip on the mat because they're upside down. Again, things like that, of that nature, just even from the littlest of details, even like, you know, cruiserweights like Rey Mysterio being able to, or like Zelina Vega, and they hit the middle rope instead of, you know, when they do like bouncing off the ropes and running the ropes, so to speak, instead of acting like they're a heavyweight and just, you know, whiplashing off the ropes from the top rope, they actually whiplash from the middle rope. You know, it's all these things compiled and put together, and being able to even kick Pat McAfee's football. There was one thing that did frustrate me though a little bit, was, and they still didn't update this in 2K25 either, it's a bit frustrating, The Rock and LA Knight, when they grab a microphone from underneath the ring, they do the taunts as if they're speaking through the microphone. I found it lazy on 2K's part that they weren't able to, you know, at least have, like, you got voice taunts for LA Knight. There's a LA Knight, yeah, and all the rest of it. All they needed to do was just add that to the microphone talk, where it just says, yeah, through the microphone, or whose game is it? You know, or even The Rock saying, you know, if you smell, or lay at the smackdown, like something like that, right? Like a voice taunt like that with the microphone That's a quality of life thing that I wish that they did, and they didn't even do it with 2K25. So it's like it's annoying because you know that it's not a hard thing. It's just literally just go in there and just add the voice taunt to when they're holding a microphone. I get it when other superstars that don't have normal voice taunts and stuff, or they don't have like a gimmick promo thing with the microphone, then fine, fair enough. It still looks goofy as hell when they go to do like the signal to, as if they're talking through the microphone and like literally it's mute. It's like nothing comes out. It looks stupid. You know, honestly, that taunt should only be for voice recorded lines of people like LA Knight or The Rock, you know, or people who do voice taunt things. Even Bray Wyatt with his yeah thing. Imagine being able to have the microphone as a weapon and have Tama Tonga, you know, in the middle of a match just go yeah through the mic, or have Jacob Farkatu just randomly with a voice taunt holding the microphone go, I love you, Solo. You know, that would be awesome. Just little things like that. Anyway, still goofy as hell, but whatever. I love all that, like the flaming tables as well. I'm going through everything. And even now, right? 2K24, with the release of 2K25, it still holds up with the lighting, with the entrances, with the models and stuff. And no, not all models look great. Like if you look at Zelina Vega's hair, it looks like a tube of Colgate toothpaste, and it looks really matted, really all over the place and messy and stuff. But they still did really good. You know, you play 2K24, like if you go from 2K25 to 2K24, it's not like, oh, this is rough, this is really bad. No, it still holds up pretty good. And that's what I give 2K credit for, is because if you go back to the last year's iteration of the game, it's not like it looks like total dog shit when it holds up next to practically an updated version of it. Obviously, the current version of a WWE 2K game that you're playing will look substantially better. But when you go back to the last year's game, it's not like last year's game looks like trash. It still holds up pretty good. And I've had a lot of fun with it. You know, especially with the DLC models and stuff. They just get better and better. And if 2K24's DLC has been this good, imagine what 2K25's DLC is going to be like when all that drops. It's just going to be amazing. You know, so I've enjoyed it. As I said, 2K24 is a very solid game. It holds up really good. And I'm not doing comparisons between 2K23, 24, or 25. I'm just saying playing WWE 2K24 almost religiously every day since its release for a full year up into 2K25, it's still a very fun game. Something that I can still sit down and enjoy and be like, well, you know, ever since 2K22, they've just made the games better and better and better, but bit by bit though. You know, they haven't added no real big game-changing, altering feature or anything. I reckon they'll do that once they start fully focusing on current-gen consoles. When they only focus on PC, PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series, and they leave PlayStation 4 and Xbox One behind, then you're going to start to see, well, shit, if the game already looks this good, now imagine what it's going to be like when they optimize the full hardware and performance of the current consoles and even PC. It's going to blow you out of the water. It's going to be one of those things that's like, well, with WWE 2K15, when they made that leap and they made that jump and focused on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One back then, right? The game looked very good. And it's got, even when you go back to 2K15, it's still got this unique graphic style to it with the lighting and stuff that still feels very good. You know, to go back and watch matches, even play matches and stuff, right? But I feel like everything prior to 2K20, or I should say everything prior to 2K22, because I'll include 2K20 in this, everything 2K22 and under to like 2K doesn't exist, right? So 2K14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20, they were all like previous gen versions, and then that was when we were just doing the same thing. They are still doing that with 2K22 and up, but they're doing good updates though. You know, they're actually putting the time, the effort in, the work in to update the lighting, the graphics, the entrances, rescanning the models almost every year, adding new match types in, you know. And I thoroughly did enjoy special guest referee, ambulance, and casket matches. I did thoroughly enjoy that, you know. Going in there and playing even ladder matches is still fun, you know. And backstage brawls, even though in 2K24 they weren't updated like in 2K25 with different areas and shit, or with their own like 3 separate, you know, NXT parking lot, WWE archives, and backstage brawl. In 2K24 you just had the backstage brawl, and then, you know, oh wow, we updated, the elevator works now and shit, right? And if you do an ambulance match, the ambulance backstage isn't just some useless ambulance. You can actually incorporate that and use that in an ambulance match, which is really good, you know. So there is one issue I did have with 2K24. I had this with all previous versions of the game too. It's just some arenas are very finicky with going backstage. If it's like a custom arena, it's even more finicky. But even if I use the preset Raw and SmackDown or Royal Rumble, Elimination Chamber, WrestleMania arenas, even then it can be very finicky with going backstage. The prompt fails, like push L1 to go backstage. It's still kind of scrappy, you know what I mean? Like for me, sometimes the prompt is there and other times it's just impossible to go backstage. And you'll be having a falls count anywhere, last man standing, Hell in a Cell match, whatever. Some matches and to some arenas that allow you to do it, and then other times you can be playing the same match in the same arena, just won't, the prompt push L1 because I'm on PlayStation, right? Just won't appear to go push L1 to go backstage. It just won't appear for me, you know. So, look, could there be a lot more things better? Universe mode definitely needed to be updated and fixed with certain things. Money in the bank, by all means, cash-ins was like almost not existent. So that was a big problem with universe mode, plus that and other things, you know. Rivalries in universe mode sort of annoyed me a bit because, like, there was a couple of things like that I noticed. My main things of universe mode that really annoyed me is you would set up a full card, right? Let's just say you're doing Royal Rumble and you got the full 14 match card, right? Every 14 matches on the card, and you've gone in and you've made, you know, tag team championship matches, world heavyweight championship, women's, all the rest of it, right? And almost every match on that card's got a championship attached to it. Once you exit out of universe mode, like just say you wanted to update a custom arena that you did, or add a logo to it, or do a custom match, or, you know, download a superstar from Community Creations, or whatever it is, right? You can edit a full match card and have all these championships. As soon as you back out of universe mode, you have to go back in and re-add championships to those matches because it will just wipe it. And it'll even add like random matches that you didn't even do. So if you've got like a 14 slot match card and you only fill out the card of 10 matches, and once you back out of universe mode, every championship match that you've set, it will just take the championship off that match. Even if you got custom, custom attires for superstars, you have to go in and, you know, edit the participants of the match. So you have to put the attire back, you know, attire 1 or 2, add the championship back to the match, and then you'll also have to remove the matches that it did add. So if you've got a 14 match card and you've only edited 10 matches, it will fill out those extra 4 slots, which you didn't initially do. It's like when you save universe mode and back out of it, when you go back into it, it shouldn't just randomize everything or take the championship matches, the championships off the matches, right? It does that, and it's very annoying. And I don't know if in 2K25 they've addressed that issue, because it's been an issue with Universe Mode for like the longest time, and it's very, very annoying. It's like once you set a card up, you got to play that and don't find any excuse to back out of Universe Mode, or else you have to go back in and edit it all again, right? Which is very annoying. Not being able to set ring announcers for your custom shows is annoying as well. If you wanted Alicia Taylor, Samantha Irvin, Mike Rome, right? That was just like, you had to go in and for every match, you had to edit like the custom match and put whatever ring announcer in and set it individually, that was annoying. So, you know, the match card, every time you backed out of Universe Mode, the ring announcers, Money in the Bank cash-ins practically being like non-existent, even though the option is there. Doesn't work, that's broken. The automatic rivalry system is very annoying, because it's like every time you hit a premium live event, if you wanted rivalries to, and I don't know whether they updated this in 2K25 or not, I don't think they would have, I'll be surprised if they did. You should be able to set how long you want a rivalry to go for. Like, for example, if you wanted it to only go for like 3 months, or like 3 different PLEs, or if you wanted to last a full calendar year of a rivalry, like that's what they should do. They should add like, at least, I reckon, they've got 4 rivalries. They should add triple threat rivalries. They should add how long you want this rivalry to go, 1 PLE, 2, or like a full calendar year. So then, you know, because that was annoying, going every PLE. And if you wanted, like, for example, if you wanted Drew McIntyre and Seth friggin' Rollins, and you wanted that rivalry to last you at least 3 PLEs, after every PLE that you do, you have to go back in and add that rivalry, because it would just say Drew McIntyre versus Akira Tozawa in a rivalry automatically. Even if you turn automatic rivalries off, it would just wipe that, and you have to go back in and still reset it, you know? So it's annoying. That's very annoying. Not having to be able to save tag teams to play mode and Universe Mode, that's very annoying too. So if you do a tag team in Universe Mode and edit it like a tag team's entrance or whatever, right, it won't incorporate that into, you know, even with championships and stuff. If, like, it should give you that option. Do you want to save this to Universe Mode and play mode, any edit tag teams and championships and superstars in general, right? Which I know it does a superstar thing with attire parts and entrances in Universe Mode. That's great, because that incorporates it into the normal play mode, but just not tag teams and championships. It's annoying. Every option that you do in Universe Mode should be incorporated into the base game's play mode. So if you edit a tag team in Universe Mode and an entrance or whatever of a tag team in Universe Mode, it should be incorporated into the actual game, like when you back out of Universe Mode, which is very annoying. So, all in all though, as I keep saying, 2K24 still holds up to be a solid game. And it's very good, like, even mid-year to go back to. And I normally do that too. Like, I'll be 6-7 months deep into 2K24, and then I went back and I played like 2K23, played a couple matches on there, and even 2K23 still held up pretty good. Yeah, of course, it's got the outdated attires and rosters and superstars and stuff, but that's always going to happen. But, I love that they're not fiddling around with the controller scheme anymore. They've done more, like, this is just what we do. You know, you'll learn it, and in every game, the controller scheme layout is the same, which is really good. You know, because it means that you can just pick up any from 2K, well, what I feel from 2K22 onwards. Once you learn the controls, it's from 2K22 or 2K24 or whatever, right? You can just essentially play every game because you've got a control scheme layout. So I'm glad they're not changing any of that. They kept that as it is, and they're not fucking around with that. So that's really good. But I still enjoy it. You know, in the lead up to the release of 2K25 and still playing 2K24, it doesn't feel like I'm missing out on much. Like I put 2K25 Bloodline Edition down on pre-order, so like I was already solid into that, right? So I was already getting 2K25, but I'm always that sort of, I'll finish off what I'm doing in 2K24 or, the current version of the game that I'm playing. So for example, 2K25 can be out for a month and I can be going backwards and forward. I can be playing 2K Showcase on 2K25 and then, putting all the custom superstars and updating universe mode, doing all that stuff, right? But in the background, I can still be playing 2K24. And I always like to play the previous year's game until I get to WrestleMania. The first PLE that I play of every game is Backlash. I finish off doing WrestleMania, like whether it's Royal Rumble, Elimination Chamber, then WrestleMania. And then after WrestleMania, I'll give myself enough time to update, like for example, 2K25. So then I can just jump from 2K24 to 2K25. Everything's already been updated. Universe mode is set up the right way I want it to. And I can just jump straight into Backlash. And go from there, right? And then enjoy a full year of that game. So it's like 2K25 from 2K24. So the last PLE I always do in universe mode before I jump to the next game is always WrestleMania. So, and that's also what I love about what 2K is doing as well, is they gave us the WrestleMania 40 XL Arena in 2K24, and they've even said in 2K25, we will be also putting the WrestleMania 41 Arena in as well. We'll be adding that later on. And I love that. I love how they're putting the newest version of WrestleMania every year now is a new thing that they've started doing. From 2K24, they've been doing it in 2K25, and I hope they just keep doing it. And saying every year's WrestleMania will be added later on, in the game, maybe 6 months after the game's release or something like that. Like 5 or 6 months, and then you'll get the updated current this year's version of WrestleMania, which is great. I really do love that. And I hope that they sort of do every previous year's premium live event in the game. Like, so for example, Saturday night's main event was the last, well, I know it wasn't a PLE, but it felt like one to me, right? December 2024, the last PLE, non-PLE, whatever you want to call it, special event, was Saturday night's main event of 2024. Which in 2K25, that arena should be put in there because that was the last arena of 2024, right? So then they should just go off that. It should go from Royal Rumble in January to all the way through to the last PLE arena in December. And every single one of them should be added into the next version of the game. So from Royal Rumble 2024 arena all the way through to Saturday night's main event 2024 arena. They should all be in 2K25, right? Which I think that's what they've done anyway, and also adding the WrestleMania 41 arena in is really cool too. Just like, as I said, the WrestleMania 40 XL arena in 2K24, so... But all in all, I've thoroughly enjoyed 2K24. If I was to give it a score out of 10, I would say, really, this, it's not perfect. By all means, it's not perfect. As I said, there's, my faction I don't give a shit about. Not that I got a problem with my GM or my Rise, it's just not my sort of thing. So 2K Showcase is alright, but I had the slingshot tech, but it was still alright. Being able to just win the matches and not have to do the objectives and still unlock everything without having to do the objectives was still pretty nice. So, I kind of give 2K Showcase of the Immortals a win on that one. I just hope I get lucky with 2K25 with the Bloodline thing. It'll be like, you brought the Bloodline edition of the game, so the Bloodline Dynasty 2K Showcase just means you can literally just go in, beat the crap out of your opponent, whatever match you're in, and as long as you win by pinfall or submission, you still unlock everything. You don't need to do the objectives. It's very tedious. You know what I mean? Like, some people enjoy the shit out of that. Me, I'm just like, I could honestly care less about the objectives. I love the cutscenes, I love how they put it together, but at the end of the day, too many objectives having to... They think that they've defeated in 2K25, they think that they've defeated the whole having to pause to read the objectives. I'm sorry, I can't play the game and read at the same time. Right? I can't do that. People are still going to have to pause the game to read the objectives. You're not defeating that purpose, because I've seen it, a little bit of the Bloodline Dynasties gameplay. Nah, there's still too many fucking words to read. There's still, like, you've got like 3 objectives, like one, and then the one underneath, and the one under, and you're trying to read 3 things at the same time while not getting the shit kicked out of you, out of you. Like, you got to focus on reading, and like, people are gonna pause that shit. You're not defeating that. That's just that's just literally dumb as shit. That really is. People are still saying, oh, we don't have to pause it anymore because we simplified the objectives. No, you haven't. You still got like a whole Bible in one objective box to read. You're still going to have to pause that shit just to read what the hell you have to do. And it's like, oh my God, you're getting me to do this now. Whatever, I'm just going to hit a finisher and end the match. Like, I don't care about your shitty objectives, honestly. As long as I unlock things and I can just win by pinfall, I don't even need to follow the objectives like in 2K24 with the Showcase of the Immortals. If I can get away with doing that with the Bloodline Dynasties, 2K Showcase and 2K25, it's going to do the same shit. I'm not going to follow you objectives if it doesn't matter. If all I need to do is just win by pinfall or submission and still get the unlockables without even following the objectives. So, like, I don't really care. I don't know if that was just sort of like a glitch in the system or a little bit of a workaround for 2K24, and they've like fully like fixed that in 2K25 and say, no, you have to actually follow the objectives. Even though you spent AUD $200 on the Bloodline edition of the game, which realistically means you should just have everything if you want it. If you want to do the grind, do the grind. But if you don't want to do the grind, everything's just unlocked for you. Like, it should be your choice, right? They shouldn't lock it behind, you have to play 2K Showcase for this, or you have to play My Rise for this. Like, they should give players the option and say, if you want to grind for it, you can. Like, when you go into like the extras to be able to, like, I know the game automatically unlocks everything now. You don't need to go into like options to do it anymore. You used to have to go into options and then do like hit square on PlayStation, unlock everything. Now everything's just automatically unlocked, and then the things you need to grind for are there. But like, they should go back to that though. They should have like, okay, this is everything in My Rise, everything in 2K Showcase, everything in my GM and my faction, right? And they should just say, you got the option. You can either push square on PlayStation and unlock everything, or you can grind for it. If you just want to unlock everything in the 2K Showcase without having to play through it, you can unlock everything, right? And give people that option. And then say, well, you can still have things for my faction locked and have them in like different sections, different tab menus in the extras and options, and say, you can only unlock everything if you want from 2K Showcase and keep everything else locked in My Rise, or you can go into the next tab and go, well, this is all the unlockables from My Rise. Do you want to grind for it, or do you want to unlock everything? I know that kind of defeats the purpose, but it's giving you the choice if you want to grind for it or not. I mean, you pay so much money for the game every year, the choice should be left up to you. And then people say, well, what's the point of doing that, right? Then it just means that you're not grinding for anything anymore. You're not actually, playing to unlock things if you can just unlock everything from the get-go. But it's a choice, though. It should be a choice if you want to grind for it or not. You're spending so much money on the game, it should be a choice. And I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me and say, well, that defeats the whole purpose. Not for me. If it's a choice and you choose to grind for it, it's your choice. But if you don't want to and you just want to be like me and unlock everything, because I just want to unlock everything and jump into universe mode, honestly, I'll play through 2K Showcase regardless. I ain't going to touch my GM or My Rise or my faction. The only 2 game modes that I touch is universe, well, 3 actually, play mode, what they call it, or exhibition mode, but play mode, universe mode, and 2K Showcase mode. That's literally all I do. And then creations, obviously, are go through and create championships, money in the banks. I do all that, right? Custom matches, superstars, arenas being the big one. I do, running it back to 2K24 though, without getting sidetracked too much of 2K25, but custom arenas in 2K24, them taking the height restriction and being able to allow you to essentially morph things through the stage, different arena parts and stuff, and being able to morph trons and stuff, so you can get the WrestleMania 30 wall trons left and right, and be able to do the height and morph it through the stage. So if you just wanted to use the screen, you know, sort of like the entrance video screen or whatever, you can. I like that. I like how they have removed restrictions, but I didn't like how we're like 2-3 years gone, like, and we still haven't got LED barricades as a custom arena part. That's a bit annoying. I hope for 2K25, even if they've done just little small tiny things, we still need LED barricades. We still should have the option to have all 4 ring aprons as an LED board if we want to. Realistically, we should be given the option if we want to make the full barricade LED. So I'm meaning even on the hard cam, like the whole thing, the whole barricade LED. Or if we just want to have, just say you got the left and right. If you want to make both sides the whole barricade LED, you can do that. If you only want to make half the barricade on one side LED and the other one not, like, you should be given choices like that. Different LED stages and ramps, you know, being able to have like a full rectangle one and different ones, or if you want to high rise that one, like what was it, WrestleMania 33 or something like that. If you wanted to make only part of the stage LED, and then the other one, and then like just say the top of the stage have this marble effect and only the ramp be LED, or only the top of the stage be LED and the ramp be the marble effect or whatever, or like some steel sort of effect, you know what I mean? Diamond plate as they call it, or whatever. But I'm just saying, if you keep up with WWE terms, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, diamond plate is literally just scrap metal, steel that they use on the stage there, whatever. You get what I mean? Like, if you wanted to have like a steel grate effect for the ramp and then have the top of the stage be LED, or if you wanted the ramp LED but the top of the stage a steel grate effect, you know what I mean? Like, I hope they do update that for 2K25. It was okay for 2K24. I loved how they allowed you to morph things and, you know, do a height, and they didn't have any height restrictions on any of the LED trons on the stage or anything. So that was good, how they took the restrictions off that, because you saw people and their creations go wild, go like really, really good. And the more they take restrictions off Custom Arena, the more you'll see creativity. It's just, and one of the biggest, best things for creations in 2K24 was What's the Status. And people like him too. Like, there's people who just specifically worked on custom championships or custom superstars, like updating attires and models, like What's the Status did. Or you had people who just were very good at recreating the arenas from real life that weren't in the game. You know, for example, like the Bad Blood Arena, Bash in Berlin, right? And there was people that were able to utilize the restrictions being taken off these, you know, LED trons on the stage and be able to actually make an almost lifelike, accurate version that would practically look like Bash in Berlin if 2K actually added it in. But it was a custom arena, but it almost looked like 2K just added it in, you know what I mean? 2K25, we are going to feel the loss of creators on PC not being able to because of the island. You know, it's like PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC gamers are all on the same online, right? Cross-platform, whatever you call it. And then PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series, we're on our own server, right? So the loss of What's the Status and all these amazing creators, I just am going to be interested to see who steps up in 2K25. Like, who is a really good PlayStation 5 or Xbox Series creators that can essentially step up from What's the Status You know, and all these PC modders and PC guys who we got in 2K24 for community creations that unfortunately can't do it for 2K25 because of the island separating the servers and shit, right? So it's going to be interesting to see, is there going to be people just as good as What's the Status who can update models and do essentially the same thing, but it's going to make it harder because he was doing it from PC. He was doing it from a computer, so it's going to be substantially harder somebody actually trying to do that from inside the base game and not a computer software thing of What's the Status did or however he did it, you know what I mean? But it's just going to be interesting to see what creators step up in 2K25 for PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series. You know, so anyway, all in all though, again for the last time, WWE 2K24, solid game. What do I give it out of 10? As I said, by all means, it's not perfect. I still give it, look, I want to give it an 8 out of 10. I feel like that's too generous, but I feel like if I give it a 7 out of 10, it's too harsh. If I was able to give it an in-between a 7 and an 8, I would. So realistically, if I was to give it a 7.5, but I don't really like to do on the dot points, I feel like I'm being, like, it's not an 8, but it's not a 7. It's in between. But if I had to give it a 7 or an 8, I'd give 2K24 a step in the right direction. The DLCs, I'd give it a 7. The only reason why I'm giving it a 7 and not an 8 is because there was still room to improve, and there's always going to be room to improve in these WWE 2K games every year, right? But just universe mode having so many issues, you know, and I feel like universe mode is never going to be perfect because 2K's just come out and said, we don't really give a shit about universe mode. We wish you guys cared about my faction like we did and stopped with your attention to universe mode, because if you guys had stopped paying attention to it, then we could just scrap it, right? I know they want to get rid of universe mode, but they can't because there's too many people, they've got too many fans, like everyone loves it. Right? They wish they could take the interest that everyone has with universe and put it into my faction. They wish everyone was obsessed with my faction. Nobody gives a shit about my faction except for like a handful of people who go and spend ridiculous amounts of money on a Persona card that you could have just downloaded from community creations. Wow, The Rock's got it a singlet and jeans. You could have literally created that yourself. Or What's the Status? Did the updated tattoo. You practically pulled the Persona card from my faction, put it on community creations, and you still got these dickhead morons spending $500 to $800 over $1,000 trying to get this Persona card because it was from my faction. Like, who gives a shit? You could have just gone on community creations, got the exact same thing for free. It's dumb. It really is. It's not like The Rock got, you know, like, okay, fine. Roman Reigns' man bun thing, yes, What's the Status did that, and then it was taken down and you couldn't get it anymore. Right? So that, yeah, fine. I still wouldn't spend ridiculous amounts of money on it, but still, that was a bit annoying because when I went to go looking for Roman Reigns' man bun, it was nowhere to be found on community creations, right? So it's like you literally needed to grind through my faction or just not have it. And hope that if you spent over $1,000, maybe you might get it. But it's not worth it, though. It's literally just, wow, Roman Reigns with a man bun or The Rock with an updated tattoo wearing a singlet and jeans. Like, who gives a shit? You know what I mean? People need to stop getting so crazy over a dumbass mode like my faction. Like, I just call it the dumb fuck mode because my faction's stupid. I'm just one of those haters on my faction. I say, just get rid of it. 2K Originals and 2K20 was way fucking better than my faction. You know, it's like if my faction was to replace that funny, goofy ass 2K Originals. 2K Originals wasn't too bad. It's what gave us the first iteration of the Fiend, right? Which is bullshit because he should have been in the base game. I know they added him, like, you know, later on. Well, like straight away, sorry. When it was literally just like a month out, whatever. I'm still just saying 2K Originals pisses all over my faction. That's just my opinion, though. Anyway, so yeah, I'll give it a 7 out of 10. Still a solid game, but room to improve. So I'm going to be interested to see how 2K25 fares when we get to, the release of 2K26. And we're literally a week or two out from the release of 2K26, how 2K25, because I feel like this is the feeling every year, right? When the newest WWE 2K game is like literally a week or 2 weeks away from being released, yeah, the current game you're playing before the release of the new one is going to feel a bit outdated, but it's still going to hold up pretty solid and pretty fucking good in my opinion. Just like 2K24 with 2K25. 2K24 still holds up pretty good. You know what I mean? It's just an updated version of the game every year, you know? Of course, the newer version of the game is going to look a little bit more polished, a little more better. It's what 2K does. They come in and they're always able to make the newest version of the game look substantially better, or quite a bit better in terms of lighting and facial scan new models or updated models and stuff like that, you know. Maybe the animations flow a little bit more better. Maybe the free flow of doing matches is a bit better, and the quality of life things is, you know, all this. It's a little nitpicky, but even sometimes there could be a substantial thing, but it's just an updated version of the previous game. But it just feels, every year, I always feel like the game always feels so much more smoother. The lighting effects, the entrances, the facial reactions and stuff to the entrances, or when you do moves and stuff, you know. And it sort of does a camera cut in the middle of a match and you see them have an actual facial reaction to what's going on. Like maybe the previous game didn't have things like that, so, or maybe it did and it just wasn't as noticeable. And maybe they're drawing more attention to it in the newer game, you know what I mean? That's why you always look for quality of life things, because they're the things that, like, one or two of them you don't really notice. Doesn't really make that much of a difference. But if they're doing like 10, 15 or 20 different quality of life things, it all adds up and it all makes, not quite a big difference, but it still makes a bit of a difference, you know? But that's just my opinions on it. So WWE 2K24 is a 7 out of 10. It's a great solid game. Love it. But it's still got room to improve. It could have been better in not a lot of ways, but quite a few different ways. Especially universe mode, you know what I mean? But anyway, an LED barricades and custom arena. Also with custom superstar. It's great, it's solid, it holds up, but it could still be better. But anyway, and these custom championships could have had the 3D effect pop to it, you know what I mean? And just championships in general should have that bit of a 3D effect. You see mods of championships look so much more better than the in-game. But everything with mods always looks better, so anyway. 7 out of 10, and I'll leave it at that. So this is my updated review on 2K24. I felt like I could do it a lot more better and just give my opinion like a lot more, just a lot more detailed and stuff. But anyway, thank you for watching this episode of SMS Games Talk WWE 2K24 review. And as always, if you ain't playing it, it ain't worth shit. Take care, guys.